authority on week-old games. You're listening to Techies Talking Tech Tonight, locally known as T4. I'm your host, Trey Comstock, and it is Friday, September 12th. I am joined by our gaming editor, Jimmy Principe, or executive, I'm wrong on everything, executive editor, Jimmy Principe.
Hello, Internet.
Gave you Steven's job.
Well, see, we're very confused because the sun is out.
Yeah,
if you're watching the video, you'll see a nimbus of light behind both Trey and I. We're both having that reaction of what is this light in the sky?
Yeah, I mean, this is Techies Talking Tech Tonight, and it's the middle of the afternoon, so this is very
Don't
confusing.
worry, I'm still drinking.
Yep, that's healthy.
Avast virus database has been updated.
Chainbreaker White IPA. It's delicious.
Great. Now that is just in the... Okay, great. Thank you, Avast.
Avast popped up and was like, you need to do things.
Yeah, well, no, that's going to be in the recording of the show. Fantastic.
AVG usually is the one that pops up during the show for me.
So this is Techies Talking Tech Tonight. This is the show where we kind of talk about whatever. This week we are going to be focusing mostly on games, video games, as we are finally in a new release season. And now actually,
hallelujah.
Now into the part of new release season that we care about, that is the one that comes after Madden. So here's the secret. Here's the secret to all video games release scheduling: is Madden marks the beginning of the fall release season. After Madden, that's when games come out. Up until Madden, not much comes out. It comes out in dribs and drabs, maybe in the summer. We're starting to get more in like...
You're in the doldrums of the summer.
Right.
We still don't get a lot during the summer.
Right. Summer's still pretty doldrumsy. But the mark of the new games coming is Madden. And so Madden is out, and so now there are new games coming, and that have come out. 2 weeks is Shadows of Mordor, which I'm really excited about.
Is that available for PS4?
Yep. PS4 and Xbox One, end of September. Xbox 360 and PS3 and now has recently been delayed to November the 8th.
Damn.
Well, who cares? I mean, they're not the lead. They're clearly not the lead development platforms.
Oh, definitely not.
On that game, and also Wii U still coming. Wii U still getting Watch Dogs at some point. There's a story about that this week.
Some say.
So Jimmy, what have you been playing?
So this week I played Destiny, that was released on Tuesday. It's very pretty. The biggest mistake I made on Destiny, and I told Trey this earlier in the week, was I forgot. So the PS4 actually allows you to power down very easily.
Like the Xbox One.
And I usually leave it in its powered down state most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't, because I didn't have it on standby and I did the online pre-order. It didn't automatically start downloading.
Right, because your system was off.
It's because my system was off. So I turned it on and I went, oh crap, what have I done?
Right.
I have a great picture that is 45% of, what was it, like 16 and a half gigs?
It's like 18 gigs.
No, that download was 16 gigs. It can get started after it downloads the 16 gigs.
Okay.
Or it downloaded another thing as a separate package. But yeah, so I got the Destiny that I started playing. I've played some single player by myself. I've played some multiplayer with a friend of mine. I chose the Titan class. So I guess I should do a quick rundown of kind of what the game is.
Sure, that'd be a good place to start.
So Destiny is a huge development game between Bungie, who made Halo, and Activision,
who makes Call of Duty.
Activision / Blizzard,
Publishes
who not only makes Call of Duty, also makes
the World of Warcraft and Diablo and
of Warcraft. And StarCraft.
Right. And
StarCraft
if it ends in craft, it's
the most exciting game release of 2010. Anyways, so it was a big development. There's a 10-year contract between Bungie and Activision to continue to make this game franchise. So there's a lot of future in the franchise, and this is the game that kicked it off. And it's not an MMO. They're very careful to say it's not an MMO. But it has certain feel of that, where you're running around a map and there are other people that are off in the distance, and you'll hear people shooting NPCs over here, and
you can stand around and dance. There's a dance animation.
There is a dance.
There's a slash dance.
There's a mount.
Yep.
You can upgrade your mount. But really, it's this core of a fire team, which is 3 players, one of each of the 3 classes, which the classes are Titan, which is your typical soldier.
Wait, like, this is the year of the word Titan, right? When we had a whole game called a Titan Fall. And,
right.
But even in Destiny, there are Titan. I just feel like Titan is really big this year.
Well, it's got that great feel, Titan.
It was like bows and arrow last year, or 2 years ago, is Titan this year, where it's just, starting with Assassin's Creed 3, like, everything was bows and arrow, like, just everything. Tomb Raider, Crisis had a bow and, like, everything had, just kill them with your bow and arrow. So this year, it's Titans, calling everything Titan.
Titan. So the soldier class is Titan. There's a, what is it? It's a huntsman class. It's a thief or assassin or basically long range sharpshooting class. And then there's I can't remember what the last one is, but it's a warlock. Is it a warlock?
Warlock.
Which is exactly what it sounds like, the more magic driven class. I usually, including in the likes of Mass Effect, I usually end up in the soldier class and then try the other ones out later once I get bored of that. So one of my friends and I, we weren't able to get a full team of 3, and we didn't want to partner with randos on the internet. So we were playing, and he was the kind of fire team leader. So he was driving where we were actually, going and what maps we were playing. Still haven't totally figured out how the PS4 chat system works. Until that game, I always have to go, how do I wait? I have to send an info. Can I just do this within the game? No? Damn, this is really annoying.
You can't. I thought you could set up parties on the fly.
You can set up parties on the fly, but I was in the game, and you have to go back out to the dashboard to set up the party and then come back into the game.
Once you're in a fire team, you
interrupt the game. It was difficult. I couldn't figure out how to do that, so I just did it as a normal kind of how you would do it for any kind of chat session for the PS4.
Okay.
Which the cross game, cross everything chat session. Shooting mechanic is excellent. Halo, everything felt natural. All the reload, all the animations are very similar to what you'd get in one of the more modern takes on Halo. Your Halo Reach, your Halo 4, one of those. High resolution on the PS4 is very nice. Because remember, Halo has never been high resolution.
Right. No, it never.
Yeah. It's always been SD.
It's always been between SD and HD.
But now we're HD, and boy, is it a nice change. The story is not there. There's not really. There's a loose framework, and it seems like there's a kind of lore that they're trying to build.
Sure. Yeah.
For the game. They have a very interesting map style, as I've described it. It's like someone went up to a graphic designer and said, I want you to make something that is modern, that looks futuristic and old.
Future past.
Everything,
it's kind of
Star Wars, as Trey described it.
Because there are two forms of sci-fi future. There's the Star Wars, which is like the dirty, grungy, kind of mystical, future past kind of thing, and then there's Star Trek, which is like the clean, ultra modern, it looks like you could eat off of the floor, kind of perfect, everything is wonderful future. Also, the Star Wars future is the one where you root for the underdog, and then the Star Trek future is where you root for the elite, right? Because you're on the side of the Federation, which is this like kind of galactic or universal United Nations full of like intellectual people who hate violence but will use it only when necessary. And like Star Trek, you're rooting for like a pirate and who got taken out by a bounty hunter. So you're rooting for like the common man in Star Wars, in the kind of the grungy mystical sci-fi Star Wars, versus the ultra modern, ultra clean, upper class Star Trek.
Of Star Trek. So we're more in the Star Wars ecosystem than we are the Star
Well,
Trek
certainly
ecosystem.
it has a heavy level of mysticism too.
Yeah, there's one of the classes is Warlock. Do I really need to go into any
Well,
more?
and what is it, the Traveler, and you are a Guardian.
Yeah,
I am a Guardian from Earth.
So the premise is, there's this Traveler thing that they discover on Mars. So the opening cutscene is from this is not spoiler at all, of course, because it's the opening cutscene. So they're on Mars. And they're coming over this hill and like climbing, and they come upon the Traveler. Which is just this giant. It's the orb that is shown on the cover of all the Destiny game. Anything that's shown, that's the Traveler. Mm-hmm. Well, the Traveler, it's not explained what it is, other than it kind of sparked human like advancements.
So is this another one where it's just the progenitors? Right? Is this just yet another in a games where it's the progenitors?
No, the Traveler, it's kind of like a self-aware thing that moves around. It's not like in Mass Effect where they discover the mass relays and they don't know where they came from.
But if you get into Mass Effect 3, now you're talking about the whatever they're called. They have dumb names in every different series, including Assassin's Creed.
Oh no, I'm getting.
They may actually be the progenitors.
I think they are it starts with the P. They're the
Prometheans. I don't remember.
That's
Look,
what I was.
It's a well-worn video game trope, even more so than like movies, where it's like, and then there was the race that actually started everything.
Yeah. So we don't have any background on the Traveler. We don't know anything about that thing, other than there's it seems like it's a greater force kind of thing. The Traveler has been followed by the darkness.
The darkness.
And so the idea is that the darkness is like coming for the Traveler. There was some giant war.
Coming.
And
so the winter is coming. Okay,
winter is coming. So there was a giant war.
Yeah.
The darkness was driven back in the short term.
And the One Ring was taken from him, and then that's how Bilbo Baggins found it in the lair of Smeagol, who had become Gollum, right?
Actually,
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes.
And he's been encaged in the tower where he's just this eye, and you're supposed to take the ring to Mount Doom. Right?
Cast it into the fires.
Cast it in the fire of Mount Doom, and your gardener comes
from
with you. From
whence it came.
Yep, okay. Keep going. So it's Lord of the Rings.
It's all of the things.
It's space Lord of the Rings.
There's a really good long opening cutscene that explains kind of this whole lore, and then nothing else. There's a small cutscene. I played about 5 hours of it thus far.
So it's Fellowship of the Ring. So nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
You start the story, and nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Yes.
Okay, good.
You have your soldiers, and you have your Boromir and your Gimli, and then you have your Legolas.
Yep.
For the long range. And then
are you calling Gimli a mystical dwarf?
No. I'm calling Boromir and Gimli
as both the soldier class. Okay, and then you have a Gandalf.
Then you have Legolas, who is the long range.
Long range, sure, yeah.
And then you have Gandalf, who's the mystical, and Aragorn fits in there somewhere as kind of long range.
Well, he is a guardian, right? I mean, Aragorn is basically what you are is your space Aragorn. You're a guardian. Yeah, this is great. How's the mission? So tell me about the mission structure.
The mission structure is you basically go into this area where there's a lot of reusing of maps, which is kind of interesting. In that you go to a different mission and you're like, I've been here before, and then the NPCs are in the same places they were before.
Keep quoting Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
we've been here before.
So, yeah.
So here's how. So Jeff Gerstmann over at Giant Bomb describes the mission structure this way,
and it's accurate. Go ahead.
And so I wanted to see what you thought of it. Basically, you have this robot companion dude, which is your plot companion, which is your plot device. And so you go to a place. Maybe you kill some dudes, maybe you don't. You come.
Usually you kill dudes.
So you kill some dudes. Then you have it scanned wherever you're trying to get to, scanned by your robot companion dude. He tells you the plot to do with that place, and then maybe you shoot some dudes on the way out, and maybe you don't. And that's like cases, over and over and over and over and over again. That's your mission.
In most cases, the way it works is that you go into a place, you scan some things. By the end of the mission, you scan the last thing, and after the second mission, it's okay. It's going to take me a little while to get through this, so just give me a sec. And then things come and try to attack you, so you
right, yeah. So you're defending
position.
yeah.
So you're defending your. It's called a ghost, the little companion thing. But it provides all of the plot,
minus a few interspersed cutscenes.
Right, and so although the mission structure is predictable in that way,
you don't say.
The enemies are interesting, but not. With a full fire team, I feel like the enemies would not actually be that difficult to defeat. Mm-hmm. With two people, my friend had played more. We were replaying some levels that he had already played, and he said, "Oh yeah, I barely got through here last time, and we got through here pretty easily." So
the difficulty doesn't scale based on how many people are in your fire team.
Yeah, there is slightly more difficulty when I guess that. It could have just been that he was at a higher level now, and so...
No, that's also true. I mean, so there is a total leveling mechanic, and even areas are identified with what level can access them, or what level's recommended for them.
Yeah, they'll tell you, oh, this is a level 4 mission, this is a level 5 mission. Right. I'm level 5 or level 6 now.
Okay. So it works out to about a level an hour?
More or less.
Okay.
I mean, of course, it gets slower.
Sure. Yeah.
But part of it is that because in the fire team, I am the person that's in the front killing lots of little things.
It's called a tank.
I'm the tank. I get lots of kills.
Yeah.
So I level faster than my friend does.
Okay. Interesting. So we've been on the hunt for things that might end up in our Game of the Year discussion. Right? I mean, we thought Watch Dogs would be it. No. Titanfall. And we thought that Destiny was going to be kind of that game. That game that finally made you look and go, yes, this is next gen. And, you know, in the same way that Gears of War did for the Xbox 360. Is that this game? Yeah.
Maybe. But probably not.
Great. So no, I mean, because when you first saw, maybe you don't remember because you were probably in high school. When were you? When
I don't
360
remember.
Came out. When you just saw Gears of War, you were like, "Oh, something's changed." And Destiny, I think, has kind of had the hype going into it in the same way that Titanfall did. And this, we thought, this combined MMO shooter by Bungie with real story, because it at least has story. It's more like Watch Dogs, where that story is just kind of, well, it has a story, but
there is a story there. It's more story than Titanfall.
Right. Great. Wonderful. And certainly you can play it on your own. I mean, I think it's a lot less problematic than Titanfall. But the comment that what I keep hearing is basically, oh, Destiny 2 will be great.
Yeah, I even said that before the show.
That Destiny 2 will be great. And I made the comment that I hate games journalism sometimes, because we want more new IPs, we want fewer sequels, and then when we get the new IPs, we're all like, well, it's just not, the mechanics are there in the case of, I guess, Watch Dogs and Titanfall and Destiny. Mechanically it's there, but story and development and world, it's just not ready yet. We said the same thing way back when. They said the same thing about the original Assassin's Creed. Then I think mechanically it wasn't there.
Mechanically it wasn't there. Concept-wise and story-wise, it was very good.
I mean,
I've replayed you have too recently.
Relatively recently, past 3 years. I've went back to it, and I think the original Assassin's Creed, it just mechanically, it was a little too kludgy, but that was another game where you were just like, wow, something new is here. And that is vaguely contemporary with Gears of War. That kind of 1 year into, because the Xbox 360 came out the fall of 2005. And so we started seeing the real games for it in 2006 and 2007. So we're starting to get into that time period for these systems, a year in. And it's just sounding like Destiny's not that game.
But to be fair, Destiny is still a lot of fun to play.
Sure.
And I think that the biggest thing is if you listen to only full on all they do is games journalists, they're not really. It's a fun game. I am enjoying playing it.
Sure.
It is. By that measure, it is like Infamous Second Son. Fun game. I enjoyed playing it. Is there a good story there? Not really.
Yeah. Is
there a great mechanic there? Yes. But it has story, and it's kind of it's enough story to keep you plugged in with the mechanic. Titanfall has no story, so therefore I did not find the mechanic sticky enough for me to want to continue to play it.
Sure. I think Watch Dogs' story is is borderline if I'm going to be able to ever go back and finish that game or not. But I do I like the mechanics there.
Right.
But that story just felt slapped together. It makes you wonder, and I've been toying with this idea a lot, that we got so far into the last generation. I mean, it ran for so long that mechanics and how to work with those systems were so down pat that's why we started to get these amazing stories told through video games.
Because you could literally just copy the mechanic from a previous game and then build from there.
So, The Last of Us, part of what makes The Last of Us so wonderful is Naughty Dog had been able to cut its teeth on Uncharted, Uncharted 2, and Uncharted 3, so they really knew the PS3 hardware so well that they could import a lot of that knowledge and underlying structure and then focus more on narrative. Because the story in The Last of Us is so much better than the story in the original Uncharted.
Well, and the original Uncharteds are more of that they're decent stories with a good mechanic.
Right. Well, and the stories have gotten better as time goes on. Uncharted 3.
Original Uncharted and Tomb Raider, I would say, the most recent Tomb Raider and the most recent Uncharted are very similar as far as level of story.
Sure. But you just look at it, I think we just got so far into that gen that's why we started seeing all these stories. And now we're back here at the start of a new gen, and we've kind of forgotten what it's like to be here because the previous one went on for so long and really had two so evenly matched systems that it stopped being about kind of, pure mechanics, and we started to go to another level with it. Right. Now, again, mechanics are still important.
To be fair, everyone's still trying to figure out what is it in these new systems that we can take and we can leverage to be superb.
Well, some of it is clearly connectedness, right? I mean, that's the story behind Titanfall and Destiny is connectedness, and with Destiny, it's somewhat scale.
Well, no, I'm more thinking Assassin's Creed Unity.
Sure, I mean, which we haven't seen yet.
What they're attempting with that game is a scale of crowd interaction that, and I mean that's interconnectedness
that's super
as well.
subtle. I mean, but that's always been the story of Assassin's Creed is the crowd. That's part of what made the original one be like, oh my gosh, it was look at the number of NPCs and they're actually doing something. It's not like the crowd in Forza where all they do is.
Hey,
right, it's not
very good at that.
Right, but it's not just a sea of cardboard people. They have dialogue and they react to you, and that just the immersiveness of that world because of what the crowd could do and the graphics around you.
You can control your character and move naturally through a crowd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of that has been the hallmark of the Assassin's Creed series overall, and I think it's one of the reasons why it's so enduring. All that is to say, we just haven't. Clearly, Destiny's not it. There's one other comment that I saw from a reviewer, and I want to get your reaction to, and then we can move on.
Okay.
I've heard Destiny. Kevin Van Ord over at GameSpot describes Destiny as cold, as basically kind of the super polished, mechanically perfect, but overall kind of soulless, focus grouped to death game. That it's a good game, but it's been so polished to the point that it's had the life of it polished away.
I agree in some sense, but I'm also going to disagree in one way. I think that part of what makes it feel as a single player, yes. Because I think part of the richness of the experience is supposed to be how you interact with other people. And I would be curious to know whether Kevin Van Ord would feel
mostly,
the same way.
He mostly plays it solo.
Well, if you'd feel the same way about World of Warcraft, because I felt the same way about and that's a totally different, like...
Well, no, it's not totally different.
No, in the sense that, like, it's not the same setting, but it's the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it can feel cold without groups, without people that you're doing things with. And... But I mean, I don't know.
But maybe that is, we have to shift how we think about games. That there is that the thing that we're getting to is it's not a line between single player and multiplayer. It's that everything is being designed in that kind of can play on your own, better be playing with people. Online co-op.
And to be honest, if I had played Titanfall with another person.
Yeah, but games are all, the worst...
I might have felt better about it.
But if our childhood tells us anything, the worst games are better when you're playing with friends. Right? There's a whole genre of couch competitive games that are based on being kind of bad but hilarious, like Gang Beasts or Mount Your Friends. Those are mechanically ridiculous, like really difficult to... like deliberately obtuse to control because it creates hilarity. So it's like literally making a deliberately bad game. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad, but I think they're designed to be really difficult to play in stupid ways.
Because of the fact that you're going to play them with friends.
Right. I think, back to my point, maybe what you and Kevin are picking up on is that Destiny doesn't have enough of a life on its own. That it needs... that interaction it's been almost designed to need that interaction with people, and if our experiences with Titanfall tell us anything, that's not always what people want. That part of what makes a great game is that, it might be fun. Like, I would love for Assassin's Creed to add co-op. I think that would just be fantastic, and it's a little unclear if that's what's going on with Unity or not. I would need to see more of that. But it's great on its own. It's a vibrant world that feels alive. And Destiny doesn't seem to have that spark.
Well, part of that is because you're almost in this like post-apocalyptic kind of world.
Yeah, but so you were in The Last of Us.
No, true.
You can do post-apocalypse.
But The Last of Us is rich because of the one-on-one connection you have with
Ellie.
With Ellie, which you can't have in an MMO. It's not.
What are you talking about? You have
that exact. But what I'm saying is, okay, that's true. I guess you could have more with the thing.
Wait, all that thing is Elizabeth, or all that thing is Ellie. You could make that. I get that it's a little floating robot, but you could make that as, in the whatever future past this is.
Remember in Halo how Cortana went
it's
from...
exactly like Cortana.
I think that, and I would not be surprised if we have a similar kind of transformation.
Right, but it's like they learned nothing from the later Halo games and went back to the original Cortana from 13 years ago.
Right.
It was 13 years ago, 2001. So, they didn't have to they could have found ways to make this game not be cold. But I wonder how much of that was a lack of willing to take risks, which is certainly what the indie developers, wave at the AAA developers constantly. Is y'all don't take risks. Y'all don't take risks. And the fact that Destiny's a new IP is a risk enough, and so we're not going to go with giving it a real sense of self.
Now, I got one more thing to bring up about Destiny, and it was an article I just saw on CNET. Today, even though it was from Wednesday. Apparently, Destiny sold $500 million.
Yeah, it made all its money back on day one.
In the first 24 hours, making it the biggest new game franchise launch in history.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they did pretty well on their initial launch.
Yeah,
so at this point, I'm waiting for Destiny. I'm going to enjoy playing Destiny. And I hope that they listen to what games journalists and users are saying about Destiny and apply it to Destiny 2.
Sure.
Because Halo 2 is where Halo really came into its kind of story.
Turns out we like the second of a thing consistently. Right? What's the best Mass Effect game?
2.
It's arguable.
Mass Effect 1 is very good, though.
Sure, just like Assassin's Creed 1 is alright. But what's the best Assassin's Creed game? Hand down. 2. It's when they added Sim Castle. I mean,
Trey's favorite element of the Assassin's Creed games.
Favorite part of the whole thing, Sim Brothel is Assassin's Creed 2.5 Brotherhood. I guess that's Sim.
I forgot about that mechanic.
Because, in Assassin's Creed 2, Claudia is chained to a desk. And then in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Claudia starts running a whorehouse. It's great.
So what about your
I was supposed to say, speaking of whorehouses, The Sims. The Sims 4, Sims Quattro. That's a game that didn't if you want my
for the Quattro.
If you want my one sentence review on this is the game that doesn't need to exist. So I love The Sims. It's one of my favorite gaming franchises. I played so much of Sims 1, it's not even real. I played quite a bit of Sims 2. Sydney's played a ton of Sims 3, buy some of the expansions. We are fully into this. Like, a lot of people who are playing The Sims, I don't really like The Sims, and so why are you covering it? I really like The Sims, and I look at Sims 4 and I go, what was the point? This is Sims 4, the quest, because we figured we should stop making expansions for Sims 3 now. They deliberately made a worse game than the game that came before it. Now, yeah, graphically it's improved, and there are some streamlining of it, and, Lord knows the Sims could always use some streamlining. This is still the game where one of the core mechanics is telling your character to go to the bathroom and take a shower. And if you want to maximize hygiene, you always take a shower every time after they go to the bathroom. Anyways. But they took out, major pieces. And some of it is they took out swimming pools, so you can no longer do the swimming pool of death. And that is just hugely disappointing. That is, I think, a core mechanic of The Sims. You can no longer trap people in swimming pools because there are no swimming pools. There are no longer toddlers. They just go from being babies to children.
So they went from something that was very good and went backwards.
Oh, on many levels. I can keep going. You can no longer shape the landscape, the terrain of your lot. You can no longer create your own texture packs. It was called Create a Style. That is, you could give anything its own, you could tweak the color of it or tweak the texture of it. You can't do that anymore. So, things just don't match right a lot of the time. And you can't make them match right to create a whole cohesive design for the kind of the dollhouse aspect of The Sims. They took away the open world nature of Sims 3. One of the key innovations of Sims 3 is you could go from place to place throughout your city and your neighborhood without a loading screen. So you could hop on your bike and go to a place, or you could drive or walk to work. That's gone. Now we're back to what it was in Sims 1 and Sims 2, where every time you change location, it's behind you, just going from loading screen and then you're there. Loading screen and then you're there. So it's no longer an open world. Places just operate as individual instances.
Now, is there any reason why they would have done that?
No,
I think of
that. No. Well, okay. Yes.
They hate users.
No. So they want too many users. The Sims 4 has very low hardware requirement. The Sims 3, for its time, and The Sims has always had a relatively high hardware requirement. So they dropped the hardware requirement and slightly upped the visual fidelity. Now, how you can get away with that is you limit what you have to load in to RAM. So rather than loading a whole city into RAM, all you're loading into RAM is the individual instance. And that's part of how I think they keep the hardware requirement down and make it run. I mean, it runs flawlessly, which that's one of the lessons I learned from SimCity.
It's not a given.
It's not you need. I mean, these are the same people that did that. You need that there. But fundamentally, I look at this game and I go, this isn't better than Sims 3. So what are we doing here? It's not like it has some new killer feature. It looks better. It's like a graphics pack for Sims 2, to be honest. I mean, that's what this is. This is a graphics pack for Sims 2 or a graphics pack for Sims 1. This is not building on what was so innovative about Sims 3. What is the point behind this game? I now see why they didn't release review copies in advance. Because they didn't want anyone to know what was actually wrong with this game. That this game is just a cash grab. It is not an improvement in the series. Don't buy it. I mean, just don't buy it. Buy all the expansions for Sims 3 and go bananas. Because Sims has never been about the visual fidelity. It's been about... Sims 3 looks good enough. And you can do so much more. And now there's, a whole, ecosystem of...
Oh, and I'm sure you can get it on the cheap.
Yeah, you can get it on the
real... for Steam sale.
Right.
Play it on your computer.
Right, it's not going to be a Steam sale. It's going to be an Origin sale. This is EA.
That's right.
Right. So there's that. And... the downloadable content works better, and so you can download celebrities into your thing, and,
Excellent. Everything I've always wanted.
So the giant bomb stream of it is Emma Watson is, basically being abused by these people. You can do stuff like that. It's not that Sims 4 is terrible. You can still have the same kind of dumb fun that is The Sims, or the management, or the whatever. But the dollhouse aspect is worse without creative style. The storytelling is worse since everything's instanced. Everything is just slightly worse. So, it works. It plays.
For no reason.
This isn't SimCity. It plays like a video game. It works. It plays like The Sims even. Fans of the series will still have fun with it. But it's not...
But they'll be fundamentally disappointed because it's less than
this
the previous
isn't one of
iteration.
those fans of the series are going to love this game. No, fans of the series are going to be deeply disappointed with this game. Newcomers of the series who have no perspective on it will be like, oh, this is a great game. Because Sims 1 was a great game. But all this is Sims 1 4.0. Not an actually new iteration, new advancement in the series. And if anything, it's a visual advancement and a mechanical step backwards, which is ridiculous.
Which is why I think that the mechanical aspects of Destiny being so good, being taken for granted even, are...
It bodes well for its future.
Well, but that's why I think that people are like, Destiny is such a bad game because it's mechanically, of course it's mechanically good, it just doesn't have story.
I don't think anyone thinks it's a bad game.
It's a disappointing game.
Right. But I also think our expectations are clearly out of whack this year. Just generally this year. Because everything that we were really excited about have been meh. Right?
And everything else has gotten pushed.
Now, there are some games to remain excited about this year. The two big ones being Shadows of Mordor and Assassin's Creed Unity.
Well, and I've said that if you like Shadows of Mordor, I'm going to play Shadows of Mordor as well.
I'll be reviewing that, or covering that in a couple weeks.
It's completely possible that Shadows of Mordor or Assassin's Creed Unity could be our game of the year.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. We also skew towards third-person action games. So, yeah, I mean, that is a very real possibility. This is just, so far, this year has been a very disappointing year in video games. I look at what I've been playing for most of this year, and it's been some leftover stuff from years ago or stuff from last year.
I've been playing my N64.
Right.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
And some of that is where we are in the gen, and some of it is that it's almost like this generation took them by surprise. They're like, oh, shoot, that now? Well, this game's mostly done. The story, nope, forget it.
We need to make money on the PS4.
Cut it, ship
and the
it.
Xbox One.
Right, or it's remakes, right? Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. You're getting a definitive edition of GTA. You're getting a definitive edition of The Last of Us, right? So what was Crystal Dynamics, Naughty Dog, and Rockstar's solution? Put out the last year's game.
Fuck it, repackage it, and sell it to the next generation.
Right. And, those were good games then. And,
Guess what? They're still good games.
All 3 of those were in our Game of the Year discussion, and 2 of them were in our top 5. I mean, they're great games, and if you haven't ever played them, now is a great time because you'll get them in 1080p 60, and it'll be beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've been tempted by The Last of Us and by the Tomb Raider.
I'm tempted by the GTA one because I just want to see that it looks like without texture pop in. Which is like...
It was so bad on the 360,
Oh,
too. It wasn't as bad on the PS3, but
No,
it was bad on the 360.
The opening sequence, Steve and I were watching it so that we could talk about it for the show. And it's just like, and cue texture popping. Ugh, it was gross. I mean, I loved that game. I sunk more hours into that game last year than any other game I played. It got its hooks into me deep. But we'll see. Next year should be better, right? Uncharted 4, The Order 1866, other things as well. What I'm forgetting? Halo. Oh yeah, Halo.
What's the Bloodborne?
Bloodborne. We had Dark Souls 2 come out this year. And hey, Jimmy, you want to keep reviewing Dark Souls 2? Yeah. See, yeah.
I don't want to play a game that hates its players.
Well, I mean, so don't be excited about Bloodborne because it's that same thing. It's
I know
that deliberately hateful game. The only surprise in the other direction this year has been the new Wolfenstein, which admittedly neither of us have played, but everyone who's played it is like, this is surprisingly good. We had no hopes for that game, and it's actually come through. So that one may be landing on your desk soon, Jimmy, because that may be our Game of the Year.
We'll see.
It's certainly the only one we've seen. So I think Destiny will still be in that conversation.
Destiny is going to be in that conversation.
Because in the end...
what it does very well.
And if in the end, if this is what video games are this year, it's not what are the list of best games of all time from this year. It's what are the best games of this year. And even if those aren't very good...
Well, because remember that your Last of Us... that is a defining game of the last generation.
Yeah.
It will be... It is arguably one of the best games released for the previous generation.
Sure, absolutely.
Period.
Sure.
Not even last year.
Sure. No, I absolutely agree that what we were looking at last year so we picked 3 console games, 1 handheld. No, 4 console games, 1 handheld. No, 4 console games and a PC, right? What was it? Last of Us Gone Home, Assassin's Creed 4, GTA, and another game.
I don't remember what the last one was.
Not Zelda. All I know is not Zelda. That I think that was the second best Assassin's Creed game. That was one of the best games of that generation. That was not arguably the best GTA game, but any GTA game automatically defines a generation. That GTA 4 and 5 will both be kind of on that definitive list, I think. And BioShock Infinite was the other one.
That's right.
And
it's a BioShock game. I mean,
it's a BioShock game. I think in terms of narrative, it constitutes where I wish all video games would be. It's where I wish this year's games would be, was to equal the slight story mess of BioShock Infinite, because that fully sums up video games this year.
There it is.
Yeah.
Next week I will be giving a quick hands-on with my new Sony MDR1 Bluetooth headphones.
And depending on when we record, we may or may not have an iPhone 6 Plus in the studio.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're gonna see. I tried to pre-order and I have failed at pre-ordering. Some of it is I couldn't physically make myself wake up at 3 o'clock. So I missed the kind of prime window for online, and then I've been pounding the pavement and it's not working. So I'm going to be in line this time. I mean, probably still this time next Friday. I'm trying to get my hands on an iPhone 6 Plus. So that may be on the show, or if we record earlier in the week, I will probably have some other gaming stuff to talk about. So if not next show, 2 shows from now will be the iPhone 6 Plus special. So on that note, we should probably get out of here. If you have any feedback, podcast at textlastcall.com, facebook.com/textlastcall, pinterest.com/textlastcall, or at textlastcall on the Twitters. Good night.
Or good day.
Good day.